Hello, it is Tuesday, December 10th, 2019. We're coming to you live from Indianapolis, Indiana. Packed house. All the boys are here. Todd, Connor, Nick, Diggs, Ty, Jason, Zito, Foxy. And there's nobody on the phones because Gumpy has been deported.
Where'd he go?
Canada, Zito.
Oh.
He's been deported back to his hometown of Canada. Speaking of deported, Eli Manning might have been kicked out of the NFL last night in his last game, last hurrah. Giants plus 8.5 seemed like the lock of the century for me and for all of us in here. Eli Manning was potentially making his last start in NFL history against the Philadelphia Eagles. Peyton Manning was in attendance. His parents were in attendance. His whole family was in attendance in a suite watching that thing. Plus 8.5 seemed like a lock. In the first half, once they started letting Eli Manning get loose, it felt like it was destiny that Eli Manning was going to get a big win on Monday Night Football. The entire pre-show was talking about Eli Manning's football life, basically, selling it up to be a big thing. And that was the most Eli Manning game that could have ever possibly happened. Took a couple fake sacks. Nobody was around him. He fell down. Love that. Threw a couple incredible balls that looked like they were coming down from the heavens, dropping in. Saw shades of the helmet catch a couple times on the sideline. And then ultimately, in the end, he and his team let down everybody. Now, Eli Manning is obviously a Hall of Famer, a two-time Super Bowl champ, a Patriot killer. But last night was not the way that I think any of us wanted Eli Manning to go out if that was his last game. But if you're an Eagles fan, somehow, some way, your team stinks and you're still in it. That NFC East is very tough to watch. We got a guy in here who's a lunatic of a man, who's an Eagles fan, who thinks that the Eagles are going to win the division, which is possible because their schedule lines up right. Dallas Cowboys have to play the Rams. The Eagles just have to play within their division. And he says that they're going to win their home playoff game. I don't know how to tell him this, but the NFC, the rest of the NFC, aside from the NFC East, is good at football. And I think that is going to be a long shot for them. But shout out to Carson Wentz making some big-time plays in the second half. I love that. We'll talk more about that. We got Blake Martinez joining us from the Green Bay Packers later in the hour. At 10:15, we have Rob Ninkovich from the Purdue Boilermakers and the New England Patriots, who are currently in a little bit of a controversy. There's a little bit of a camera in a press box situation brewing where I am a pretty naive person, like to expect and think the best of people. But I don't know how the Patriots end up in this situation again when no other team has ever ended up in this situation before. I'll be excited to talk to Rob Ninkovich about the potential benefit of recording the other team's coaches from the press box, especially when you have a guy named Ernie Adams. I think my favorite quote of the whole thing was a guy questioning if the Bengals even actually call plays and if the video camera was even worth it. We'll talk to Ninkovich about that. The Heisman has their 4 finalists. We'll break that all down. We'll talk about a lot of things, even a little NBA talk with our friend Boston Connor, who is our NBA insider. How's the NBA look this year?
Amazing.
And Evan Foxy plays some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is, Chase Rice. I appreciate you. That handsome country singer is currently on tour. If he's in your city, go ahead and check him out. 4 finalists for the Heisman have been announced. Everybody we kind of expected. Eddie George a couple weeks ago said J.K. Dobbins is going to run his way into it. He did not. Joe Burrow, who I got a chance to see live and in person for the first time this past weekend down in Atlanta. Hey, he is the truth. This guy, more athletic than you think he is on television. He's a better quarterback than you think he is on television. And his demeanor is one that I think is going to make him not only the number 1 overall pick, but a guy that's going to be a steadfast.
Stalwart.
Steadfast? No, that's not a word.
Steadfast is fine.
Is it?
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
both ways.
Ty got accepted in Harvard. You did not.
Yeah, but he didn't go there, so.
True. He's going to be a stalwart in the NFL for a long time, I believe. I honestly believe that after watching his demeanor. The story Coach O came out about him breaking his phone and refusing to get a new one because we got a football game to play is just the most insane thing in 2019 for a college kid to do. So I think he's got that Ohio gritness. He loves football. I think Joe Burrow is the lock of locks when it comes to the NFL. And I have not said that about other guys. I have not. I understand that other talking heads have said that. I understand that. Those talking heads, I'm not 100% sure I've gotten a chance to sit front row and watch greats be great for 8 years every single day, the likes of Peyton Manning and such like that. I got a chance to see Burrow for the first time, and I am all in on that kid. He's a Heisman finalist. I assume he's going to win it just because the Heisman moment is where everybody talks about. He's had about 6 of them this year. Another incredible quarterback. Justin Fields from the Ohio State. He has like 41 touchdowns and 1 interception or whatever.
Absurd.
It's insanity. Absolute insanity for that kid. That Ohio State team looked dominant in all 3 phases from jump. Ryan Day comes in after a bum decides to go do television, and he has made that team somehow better than they were last year. Though they have stumbled a couple times. Which is why they dropped down to 2, and they haven't played the amount of competition that LSU has played. He has put up a year that people should talk about for a long time. I assume he's going to do the same thing next year. So although Justin Fields, any other year I think would deserve the Heisman, he's not going to get it because of what Joe Burrow has been able to accomplish in the SEC and turning that LSU offense into a juggernaut as opposed to one that just kind of, regulates the game. Jalen Hurts, shout out to him, hopping into the transfer portal, out of Alabama after winning big games for them last year, and then goes straight to Oklahoma in their Heisman factory, Lincoln Riley head coach. Does well, becomes a passing quarterback, puts up some good numbers, throws some wildly aggressive balls. It makes me question whether or not he's going to be good in the NFL. I'm not 100% sure. I think he's an athlete, a freak athlete at that. I think he's a great quarterback. He won a Big 12 championship. Good on him. Good for him. They struggled a lot. I don't think he'll win, but I'm happy that he got out of Alabama, still had success. So the niche of him just, you're at Alabama, that's why you're good, it can kind of get off of his shoulders. I think he'll be in the NFL. I'm not sure how great he'll be in the NFL. Excited to see if he can continue to learn, though, because I think his passing from last year to this year has grown exponentially. I assume that only happened going forward. Not a lock in the NFL in my eyes, but I'm happy that he's there. Happy he's in a college football playoff. Alabama is not, because it's always good when you leave somebody and they end up in a worse place than you.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It is.
Feels real good.
Best way to get over somebody is get under somebody else. When you're under somebody else, it's a lot more successful than the person you were getting over. Life is a lot better for you. And that's what happened with Jalen Hurts when he left Alabama, got under Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley.
Revenge bots.
Revenge team. That's what Jalen Hurts did. And Chase Young, who a lot of people are calling the best player in football. Dominant force. He was getting triple teamed by Wisconsin, so he kind of disappeared there. Well, whenever you're taking up 3 of the 5 offensive linemen, that's going to happen. That's a compliment in and of itself. He's the 4th defensive lineman to be a Heisman finalist, so he should be pumped up about that. That goes to the magnitude of a player he is, disruptive of a player he is. He won't win it, but he's going to make all the monies as well. Good for him, and good for Ohio State having 2 finalists in there. J.K. Dobbins, people are talking about being a finalist. There just wasn't a spot for him. Happy for Jalen Hurts, but Joe Burrow takes this thing home strictly because of the Heisman moment conversation, and I think they got it right. College Football Playoff Committee got it right, and I think the Heisman finalists got it right, which is not a normal thing whenever you got a bunch of people voting on things in a subjective manner.
Yeah, I think Joe obviously wins it, and I agree he's very, very good. I don't think he's going to be great in the NFL for a long time, strictly because he's going to go to the Bengals, and they're going to ruin him somehow.
No, I think Joe going back to Ohio. Yep. Like, all right, listen, you get Carson Palmer, goes to the Bengals. He's this California guy. Ohio's a different place, right? We've been to Ohio numerous times. I've driven through Ohio numerous times. I have friends from Ohio. I've partied in Ohio. Ohio's a different place. It's a gritty place. It's why I think Joe Burrow is successful is because he's from Ohio. Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan. You get people from these places, they've been through some things. Okay? Winners are no joke.
No joke.
Winners are no joke. Like, I understand that the kids in Florida might be faster than everybody else, and the people from California might be more attractive than everybody else and stuff like that, and Texas kids got great southern draws. But if you haven't had to live through a winter every single 6 months, I think you just miss out on this grit factor that we are naturally having. When you walk outside and your face gets slapped with, like, pneumonia or whatever it is. No, not pneumonia.
I mean, you can get pneumonia from the
For
cold.
sure, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Frostbite.
you just chap. Your lips get chapped as soon as you walk outside. And you got to be like the kid from the Christmas Story where he can't put his arms down going to class. And every single, you can't feel your fingers. And like, there's just something about that. Andy Dalton's a Texas kid who I like Andy Dalton. Very, very handsome when he got his new haircut. I think Andy Dalton's a nice guy. I think he led Cincinnati Bengals to a lot of wins, by the way. They had like 11 straight wins, like 3 straight years or something like that. They won a lot. But I think them getting an Ohio guy who understands, like, hey, yeah, this food's going to stink here. Yeah, we don't have an indoor practice facility. Yeah, our owner doesn't really care if we win or not. Yeah, we have good fans, but even they hate our team. Yeah, he understands all that stuff coming back home. I think he could potentially be very good for the Bengals, but they'll never be great because of ownership and the way it's operating. But I think Joe Burrow will do well for the Cincinnati Bengals. He just so happens to be getting drafted into a division, though, where Lamar Jackson is, Doc Hodges is, and a Freddie Kitchens-less Browns going forward. So I think Joe would do well.
Well, yeah, and Joe's dad, I believe, was a DC for a long time for Ohio U.
He's a coach's kid. Mm-hmm. He's a hard worker, lunch pail guy, first in, last out, runs great routes.
You forgot to mention, you learn how to be if you go to the Bengals, you learn how to be positive in terrible situations when you don't see the sun for 6 months at a time.
Yeah, that happens. These are things that happen, by the way, to you people that live in the you people.
What you mean, you people?
I mean, you people that live in these places where it's very nice weather. Like, we're down in Atlanta. I had to take off clothes because I was sweating in the middle of December. I was dripping sweat. The sun was shining. Everybody was happy. It was, hey, up here, it's not like that.
No.
There's no sun for the next 4 months. It gets dark at 4:30. The gritness that comes with that cannot be just attained or obtained by cash or something like that. This is something that's in your soul. And people are like, oh, you're from Pittsburgh. You're used to the cold. Yeah, I'm used to it, but doesn't mean I like it. It doesn't mean I like it. It doesn't mean Joe Burrow likes living in a place where it's going to be cold and it's going to get dark at 4:30 in December and there isn't going to be sun for 6 months. It's just he's learned his entire life how to deal with it. That is something that is different, and that's why I do believe Joe will have success at Cincinnati. He just so happens to be getting dropped into a division where success is going to be difficult.
You have Matt Stafford's career.
Whoa,
It'll be awesome. Can't get anywhere.
Come on. Yeah, you're right, though. I mean,
it's exactly what it's going to be.
If we're talking about organizational failure, I think the Lions would be in there. I think the Bengals would be.
That's fair.
The Bengals would be right behind.
I brought it up earlier. Maybe he gets lucky and the Giants fall to the first pick. And someone better trades up to get, since the Giants don't need a quarterback. They got Danny Dimes.
They also got Eli Manning. In that first half, he can give you at least 4 or 5 throws.
Or 4 or 5 more seasons.
Or got tired after a half.
All right, we got to get to a break because we got to talk about this Patriots thing with a guy who was in the Patriots for a long time. The Patriot way. It is 10-13 right now. On the other side, we got Rob Ninkovich. The Patriots are a hot topic right now, yet again. For the people who hate the Patriots, yesterday was just another reason to hate them. And if you're a Patriot fan, it's another reason to say, oh, these people just want to find anything against us. Yeah, we're the only team that gets caught videotaping twice now in the last 20 years. But do you think we need to do that against the Bengals? I think that's the question we have is, if they're doing it against the Bengals, who else are they doing it for? No stone unturned up there at the Patriot way. It's 10-13. We'll be back on the other side. You listen to the Pat McAfee Show.
Ten years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on this beautiful Tuesday, December 10th. We're being joined by a guy that's a Super Bowl champion. Defensive end, outside linebacker, however you want to describe it, had a great beard, good personality. And today is a perfect day to be chatting with him from the New England Patriots and NFL Live. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Bigwood.
Wow, that intro was one of the most beautiful things that I've ever heard in my life. It must have been a Pat McAfee intro. That has to be.
Well, I was
the man, the myth, the legend. The combination of Rick Tamlin, Brian Fontana, and Champ Tyne, if I have ever seen a broadcaster in the brilliance that he has, that is Pat McAfee.
Rob, I appreciate you, man. I've talked to you once before on a microphone. I get a chance to watch you every day now on ESPN, NFL's Live. I think you could bring a little bit more energy, but you do great on that show. I mean, your brain is an incredible one. Obviously, we have to talk about what happened yesterday. I mean, you were in the Patriots for a long time, a stalwart of the Patriots organization for a long time, a picture of the Patriot way, a man who really did everything right up there. And now, for the second time now in modern history, the Patriots are being accused and alleged of videotaping and recording an opponent's signs. What do you want to say about this before I start hammering you with questions?
I mean, honestly, what a great day. What a great day to come on a beautiful show and just get peppered with questions. You know, I'm surprised there's not a heat lamp on me and I'm not tied to a chair. You know, this whole thing that's going on, it's kind of like, I mean, it's mind-blowing a little bit because you think about it, you're like, why? You don't need any signals anyway. You don't need any, like, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. They have one win. They have one win. Like, it'd be different if it was like an undefeated team and you're like, wow, we need every single thing we can get. Let's do this show and, like, try and get a signal here. Maybe it'll help us. But I think it's a little blown out of proportion. If everything that they said is true, that it's for a show, and they handed over the tapes, and there isn't anything incriminating that you would say, like, okay, that's suspect to, like, what you would really do on a show. You know, I think that because of the fact that there is the previous issue and the previous thing in the past, that it's like a trigger, you know, people hear it and they're like, oh, well, there you go. You know, I think that this is probably a little bit blown more out of proportion than what it really is, if it is exactly what they said it is, them covering a do-your-job show for a scout. You know, the only weird thing is, like, you couldn't do it, like, another week that the next week you weren't playing the team, you know? Like, what about, like, any other week, you know? So it's the timing of it, that timing looks pretty shitty.
Yeah, shitty. Yeah, I have to. Okay, so I have to ask you about this because it is so relevant right now, and we'll move on to the Patriots defense and other things about the struggles of the. I promise we will, because I think your brain is a good one, and I want to hear it talk actual football as opposed to the semantics happening off of it. But a lot of people, whenever they hear this outside of New England, because of what has happened in the past with Deflategate, which was blown way out of proportion, everybody can agree with that. With Spygate, with everything that has happened, as soon as this happens, the optics of it is obviously going to be one that's going to get magnified immensely, especially when you're talking about the greatest dynasty in professional sports that has been riddled with things like this. How do the Patriots let this happen optically? Is this just kind of somebody that just like an oversight by somebody in the content team? How do you think this even goes through for a team that is known for doing everything calculated and everything right? How does this potentially get through the cracks?
Well, I think that I have worked for the preseason, and I do the craft sports, and there's like a separate video. There's a completely separate department that does, like, you know, videos and other things, and it's literally in a different part of the building, and they're two complete separate things than the actual video people that work with the Patriots. So I could understand how they said, oh, this was a misunderstanding with what they were doing versus what the Patriot people can do, because if you are a video person for the New England Patriots that works with the football team, they understand the rules that are implied for everyone, that you can't put the camera on things, you can't tape certain things, and then you have an outside or a separate video media group that does a show, different shows, different things that even like certain cameramen have no idea what rules and regulations are in place via the NFL policies and NFL rules. So I could see how there was a misunderstanding with just because if you just take, some video nerd and you say, hey, we're going to do this thing, like tape it up, and they go out there and they're like, yeah, well, I was just taping everything, or I was taping I thought that's what this guy does. That's his job. And you're like, no, like you can't do that because in all honesty, look, if you are the New England Patriots or you are anyone associated with New England Patriots and you have a camera and it's facing the field at an opponent's stadium and you wear a Patriot shirt, like, isn't that a complete, if you're like, oh, let's video this secretly and not want anyone to know about it, why would you wear the New England Patriots shirt with a logo on it and everyone know that you're associated with the New England Patriots? Why wouldn't you just be a random guy with a polo on taping something? Nobody would know that you're the Patriots. So you know what I'm saying? That's I think that this situation was a separate media group. Yes, they are employed, or they were employed by the Kraft Group, which does separate things than what the New England Patriot football operations videos guys would do. So I think that's why you hear the statement of Bill saying he'd never even seen the tape, never even seen anything that has gone on with that side of anything that is non-football related. That's what I would assume that's what happened. There was a miscommunication with someone who had never been affiliated with NFL policy, NFL rules, was employed by some Kraft network or something that has to do with a separate media outlet through the Patriots.
God, as soon as I heard it, and them saying they were in the press box, dude, there's cameras everywhere in the press box. I don't know why. Now, listen, if we're going to talk about the Patriots cheating, we could say at least they've been pretty good at it. If you're going to give them, you know what I mean? They had an entire system in place for Deflategate, which was a complete joke. Like, it got blown way out of proportion. As a person, I was on the other side.
Deflategate blew my mind because, look, they fixed it at halftime, and then we just
all right.
At halftime.
All right, yep.
Then
we don't need to hear.
What was the final score, Pat?
We don't need to hear. We don't need to hear. But I'm just saying, to do that, I think that is not something that would be in the. So whenever I read it all, I was like, this doesn't seem. How does this happen in 2019? I don't see this happening. One last question about it all, though, because people say Belichick might not have seen it, but this guy Ernie Adams is like this mythical creature. He's this mythical character where everybody's like, hey, this guy's like Rain Man. He knows everything. How much credit should Ernie Adams get for the success of the Patriots over the past 20 years or whatever? And what does Ernie Adams actually do?
He shops at Kmart. And he wears corduroys.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So I think the relationship, Ernie Adams has always been around. My first day there, you see him walking around. He is what you would consider maybe not the most social or, a guy that, kind of just sticks to his own thing and is behind the scenes. I do know that he has a relationship with Bill. I don't know what the ins and outs are, what his specific role is. I have no idea. I don't think there is a title there. But I do know that he's a very brilliant football mind, and he really does a great job, with Carr. If you guys, for everyone that isn't involved in football, every week there are cards that are drawn up to help you prepare for the team that you're about to play based on the plays that have been run in the past. Mm-hmm. And there was a specific play I can remember because I think it was 2010 or 11. The Miami Dolphins ran a throwback, threw it to your wide receiver, and then the wide receiver threw it back to Reggie Bush on a wheel route. And in practice, Ernie kind of came up to me. He's like, "Hey, Rob, be alert for this play. They might bring it up." And that's the way he kind of talks like this. And I was like, "They're not gonna." In my head, I'm like, "They're not gonna run this play. It's stupid." And sure enough, they ran that play in the game, and I completely had a brain fart and just tackled Reggie Bush, and it was pass interference, and they put the ball in the one and they scored. So he has the ability to look through previous plays and kind of say like, hey, I think that these might be some plays that they run, or this is what they do well, and just help you prepare for the team that you're about to play. So with the whole video thing, I have no idea. I don't know what that whole thing was. I don't even know what that is. What they're talking about with the video and Ernie Adams. I just know that he used to help, or does help, do the cards and the drops for the potential plays that their other team. That's like what they like to do from previous games.
Yeah, it's probably because he has a camera in the Miami Dolphins facility. That's neither here nor there. All right, let's move forward. By the way, thanks for answering that. I mean, you were put in a terrible spot right there, and you did incredible. Let's move forward. Now that stuff about Ernie Adams, I think is good. A lot of people are going to ask questions on the internet. I just want to let you know.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Hey, it's not me. This Patriots team, though. That defense and special teams has been doing everything they possibly can for that team this year, which, by the way, football is 3 phases anyway. So one side doesn't have to carry it all the time. 10-3 still, couple bad calls away from being 11-2 right now. Do you have worries about this Patriots team going into the playoffs, or do you think, as a person that's been in that building for a long time, that has seen the way things operate, that offense will be able to carry their weight going forward?
Well, I think that you can never count Tom and Julian and James White, all the guys that they have on offense. You can never count them out. When I watched them play this year, I feel early in the year their defense had a lot of swagger and they had a lot of confidence. They've lost to the 3 AFC division leaders. That's been their 3 losses. And the only thing that I think is concerning is just Tom being hit and Tom taking unnecessary hits that, when you're 42 years old, you don't want to hit the ground, and you don't want to have guys in your face. So, when they had Isaiah Wynn come back from IR from injury, he had a toe injury, everyone was saying, "Oh, this is going to be the fix to the offensive line." And look, I can be the first one to tell you that when you're coming off an injury and you miss your rookie season with an injury, because I had a rookie season that was lost with an ACL. Your first season back is almost like your rookie season. So it's not going to be easy for a guy that just came back from IR and missed last year with an Achilles to just come back and be the guy that answers all your questions. So I think that losing David Andrews early hurts them too, because they don't have how important the center position is with helping adjust the line and pick up blitzes. And I've seen a lot of teams blitz the Patriots. You watch this previous game, look, they were blitzing the heck out of them. Kansas City was blitzing a lot. So, when you have a blitz, what's the number one thing that slows down a blitz? Well, you mix in some screens. You have to have some intermediate passing, like hot routes that come up and open up quickly. You can't have long developing plays. So, I think that moving forward, they're gonna try and figure out and fix some of the things that they haven't been doing great offensively. Just because that's the way they are. And you have Tom, that's a brilliant football player, and he's smart. He understands all the things that they need to do moving forward. But look, their defense has played well. You look at the Kansas City game. Early in that game, they let up more points than they would have wanted to. But you look in the second half, they let up 3 points. And then special teams. I watched that special teams unit, and they're coming up and they're dialing up punt rushes, and they're getting after people, and they're winning the hidden yardage battle, which a lot of people that aren't football fans or know a lot about football, and Pat, about the hidden yardage with punting and pinning teams inside their own 20-yard line. And when you have a great defense and you can win the field position battle and you win the hidden yardage battle, that automatically helps you and sets you up for those games that might come down to one possession. So you look at the 3 games that they have lost, they've come down to one possession. If they have something goes differently, maybe they tie it up, maybe they win, I don't know. But in the playoffs, it's a one-play type deal. And look, I've won 2 Super Bowls, but I easily could have been 0-3. I could have had no Super Bowls, and it's based on one play. And in the playoffs, one play, one thing goes one way, one thing goes the other way. One foot's inbounds or out of bounds. I don't know what the refs are looking at. That's the play that could change the game. So, I think that they have the mental makeup. They're tough. They play 60 minutes, and when you have Tom Brady, you can never count them out.
Yeah, you never know when a play is coming, and the play don't care who makes it. Rob. That is something to play. Don't care who makes it. Last thing before I let you go, I can't thank you enough for joining us. What have you enjoyed and hated about being in the television world now?
The makeup. I enjoy the makeup.
Just some blemish. It's a real life filter.
It really makes me look, that's what I was like, wow, these girls cheat this bad?
Oh! Rob! Whoa!
I'm joking. That's a complete joke. That's joking. My wife's looking at me. She's like tapping her arms. She folded her arms and looking at me a certain way. Anyway, no, I would say that the thing that I like the most about it is now that I'm done playing football, I'm still involved in sport and football and the game that I love. Not necessarily having to be a coach or, nothing wrong with being a coach, but I like the freedom that I have being able to do the things that I'm doing now. And I have 3 kids, so they're driving me nuts. But I have a lot of time that I can still dedicate to them. And, the one thing that probably aggravates me a little bit is having to answer questions like the questions you just asked me about the Patriots. And, it's like, I don't know what the heck to say. But everyone, they automatically assume, like, oh, Dinkovich, you're a freaking Patriot lover, you cheater, but whatever. I had a good time. I had a good run. And now I'm doing the media thing. And I'm thinking about wearing cutoff shorts and a sport jacket. What do you think?
Rob, I think you're doing a very good job. I like hearing your brain get showcased on the television. We watch you every single day on NFL Live. And I can't thank you enough for joining us, bud. You're going to have to answer those questions, I think, for the next couple of days. So, I think your Ernie Adams answer has to be a little bit better because you're going to get they're going to come after you for it.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2-time Super Bowl champ, good dude, good beard, Rob Ninkovich. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, guys.
All right, cheers, man. We got to get to a break. On the other side, we got Blake Martinez, linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. I know Ty has some questions.
Yeah,
I think. Whoa.
What? Just saying. Got a couple questions.
You're an owner.
Yeah.
You're allowed to ask questions.
Pay the guy's salary, for Christ's sake.
10-3 they are right now. We'll get to him on the other side of the break. Big thanks to Rob Ninkovich. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Life, 52% of all men will experience erectile dysfunction, but most of them never get treated. Now there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. With Roman, you can get genuine medication prescribed by a U.S. licensed physician, all from the comfort of your home. If medication is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping and in discreet packaging. Get started with a free online visit today at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
I want to let you know that Omaha Steaks has a deal right now that is going to make their company go out of business. Right now, Omaha Steaks is sharing an amazing limited time offer with listeners of our show, and there is still time to place your order for the holidays. Go to omahasteaks.com and enter the code America in the search bar for the favorite gift package. The gift everyone will love for only $69.99. What'd you say, Ty? What do you get for $69.99? I'll answer for you. 4 6-ounce bacon wrap filet mignons, 4 premium pork chops, 4 Omaha Steaks burgers, 4 perfectly brown potatoes au gratin, 4 made from scratch caramel apple tartlets, and an Omaha Steaks signature seasoning packet, plus a free 6-piece cutlery set and a cutting board. All this delicious food, plus the free cutlery set they'll enjoy for years to come for only $69.99. Omaha Steaks are the most tender, the most flavorful, and you can only get steaks of this quality from Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher. Again, order now and you can get the favorite gift holiday package, plus the free 6-piece cutlery set and cutting board for only $69.99. Just go to omahasteaks.com and type America in the search bar. Don't wait. If you want to take advantage of this offer and get your gift there before the holidays are over, go to omahasteaks.com, type America in the search bar to order the gift everyone will love, the favorite gift package today. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. We are being joined now by a man who's from Stanford, has played football for a long time, and he's a member of the 10-3 Green Bay Packers. Ladies and gentlemen, Blake Martinez. Ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
how you guys doing?
Blake, everything's good. How's Green Bay right now? Is it just cold as balls over there right now?
Yeah, it's getting bad. This last week we were fortunate to be in like the 20s, 30s, but today I think it's getting down to, I think, single digits, so it's not going to be good.
All right. I got a chance to be in Green Bay last year for your Lions-Packers game. Aaron got hurt on the second play. It was not great for the Packers in Lambeau, but the place was packed out. You're playing for much different situations this year. Your team has turned around after last year's, I would say, dreadful year. You get a new coach, you get a new offensive system, bring in some new weapons on the defensive side of the ball. How have you seen this year has gone, and how do you see the rest of the year going for the Green Bay Packers?
Well, yeah, this year's been amazing, just from OTAs on till now being 10-3. I think since we first got here as a unit with the new free agent guys, new rookies, new coaches, everybody's just built into the culture of attention to detail, urgency, fun, intensity, all these things that kind of work hand in hand every day that allow each and every one of us to be better and each and every one of us to make each other better. And it's just been awesome so far, and we're just going to keep it going one week at a time.
All right, you come out hot as a defensive side. You've had a little bit of struggles, but you've bounced back. The defense, what is the thing that really gets the Green Bay Packers defense going? It seems like you guys really thrive off of turnovers. You're a bend but don't break defense. Is that the mindset? Is that the idea going in? Is that what your Packers fans look forward to going forward?
No, yeah, I think for us it's just working together as a unit, each guy doing their job, communication, and like you said, making those turnovers, making those big plays that either get us off the field and get Aaron the ball closer to the end zone. And I think just throughout the next couple of games, it's just making those small improvements because there's never been moments throughout the year where teams have beaten us. We've beaten ourselves on just little miscommunication things, misunderstandings, and once we get those down, it's going to be a tough to score on us.
Well, you guys are 10-3. It's very difficult to win games in the NFL. Even in the year we were 2-14, there was 8 games we should have won where it was one-score games. So getting wins is not something that's easy in the NFL. I think people forget that. And now the conversation about the Packers, and it shouldn't be because you guys are 10-3, but it's, you know what, they won ugly against the Dwayne Haskins and the Washington Redskins. Getting those wins that are close, do you think that helps your team going forward? Or is that something where you're like, you know what, probably should have blew them out there?
No, yeah, I think we have kind of both those mindsets. I think for us, we left that game knowing we could have played way better all across the board, special teams, defense, offense. Not kind of dogging the Redskins, but they were a 3-9 team, and we should be doing more against them. And it was one of those things where it was tough to swallow that, but also to get out of there with a win. You can kind of look back at the tape and make those small corrections to allow bigger plays for the offense, more turnovers for the defense, better run stopping, better pass game stuff on the last drive, and those types of things that'll end up helping us in the long run.
Yeah, I think a win's a win, honestly. And it's hard for fans to see that, especially when you're going against a bad team. I think a win is a good win, no matter how you slice and dice it. You got the Bears coming up, who've been on a little bit of a hot streak. And the NFC, aside from the NFC East, is a buzzsaw right now all across the board. Everybody that's going to make it in the playoffs. The Bears are hot right now. What are you looking at in the Bears and Mitchell Trubisky right now to potentially stop them?
No, yeah, I mean, kind of looking back at our first game until now, they've gotten a lot better. Mitch Trubisky's gotten a lot better. They have, the same offensive weapons. They were an explosive offense, so it's just going to be a tough task for us as a defense to once again go out there and stop them and make sure to limit their big plays, stop the run game, and get them off the field on third down. And if we can do that, and obviously get the ball back to number 12, special things will happen.
We got a diehard Bears fan in here. His life was terrible for a long time. Now he's riding a little bit of a wave. And we got a guy who's actually an owner of the Packers, been a lifelong Packers fan. He has some questions. His name's Ty.
Yeah, Blake, obviously when you have a guy like Aaron, you're always kind of going to be expecting to be in the mix at the end of the season. But after you look at what happened last year, what were you guys' realistic expectations going into the season? Because I think you've outperformed what a lot of fans expected from the Packers this year.
No, yeah. Kind of from earlier, just once we got into OTAs, it was one of those things where we were focusing on ourselves, and obviously every single team has the expectations of going to the Super Bowl, but everybody has those realistic ideas. And I think throughout OTAs, throughout fall camp, throughout preseason, our expectations for our season just kept growing and growing. And it was one of those things where, all right, we know what we have on defense. We were dominant on defense throughout training camp and those types of things, going against the Texans and practice, and that just allowed us to propel, and we knew what we were going to put on tape. And then basically our biggest thing was once our offense kind of understands LaFleur's kind of scheme and play calling and all that stuff, it would start to just propel them. And ever since those types of things, we knew we could be a playoff team. We knew we could be a Super Bowl contender. And right now we're just focusing on obviously one game at a time, but we still have that expectation.
What has LaFleur been like? Mr. Rogers told us he's a grinder. Whenever Aaron came on the show, he talked about this guy's just a grinder. On the defensive side of the ball, I guess you don't get to work with him every day aside from the team meetings. What has he been like? What is the culture like with him in there as opposed to McCarthy?
No, yeah, I always want to say that Coach McCarthy was awesome for me. Obviously gave me my opportunity, an awesome coach. And then just on Coach LaFleur's side, I think just his age, it just allows him to kind of be a part of the group more, understand us more, adapt to us more. And then I think Aaron hit it. He is a worker. He's a grinder. I just remember, I think it was one of the away games. He was in a random hotel meeting room just watching film for I don't know how long. It seemed like he was there the whole day. So it's one of those things that he's always working to get better, always working to learn. And it's cool to see. And then he understands when to have fun, when to have cool moments with us, and then when it's time to work, and you understand that. And he has a good blend of it, and it makes the day kind of flow that much easier.
Blake, how much easier have guys like Zadarius and Preston Smith made your job, and how fun is to play with guys like that?
Oh yeah, they make my job a lot easier. Just their football IQ, I think, is one thing people I don't think they see it. They understand a lot, and obviously they make amazing plays every single game. But just their ability to understand formations, understand what type of checks I'm trying to communicate to them, they see it just as fast as I'm seeing it. So it just makes it so much easier working hand in hand with them. Obviously they set the edge, makes the field that much shorter for me. So it's just awesome to have those guys, and I'm glad I have them.
As a quarterback of the defense, what quarterback have you enjoyed going against? We talked to Glover Quinn last week where he said that Peyton Manning just stared at him basically whenever he was young because Peyton was looking to get a tell off of him, which told him everything else about the defense. I'd assume that you have those types of things looking at quarterbacks and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think, besides going against Aaron every day at practice, I'd probably say probably Tom Brady was probably one of my kind of favorite games to play in. Just being able to communicate, make checks, try to play that kind of cat and mouse game with him, understand what they were trying to do, making adjustments. It's a cool thing I was growing up to be able to play against a guy like that.
What's it like looking Tom Brady right in the eyes? Is it like a dream, or he's very handsome? Blake, he's very handsome. I mean, you just staring at a guy that's worth like $700 million right now. We were on that. We were on that last one before I let you go. We were on that Stanford campus, and I think I bumped into 3 billionaires and 4 Olympians. What was it like going to school over there?
Oh yeah, that atmosphere, just the environment. It's special. I think that was one of the main reasons I wanted to go there. Obviously, everyone talks about the degree, all those types of things, but when I first got there, I met just random people. I think it was the number 1 in the world juggler, and just random things. It was like, and then another guy, he like got in because he found out that a spider monkey can like counteract gravity in like a science fair project that he did in high school, and so he like got into Stanford because of that. And it was just like crazy people you meet, and it's just, I think for me, it was every single day, no matter if I was in the locker room or in a classroom, everybody was trying to be their best at whatever they were doing, and so it rose your level of what you wanted to be as an individual. And I think that was the coolest thing that I got from Stanford.
Blake, we appreciate the hell out of you. Go Card, go Pack, go. Good luck the rest of the year. It's been fun to watch you guys do well this year. Happy the Packers are back into relevance and dominance. Good luck against the Bears this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, Blake Martinez. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Hiring the right person takes time. Time that you often don't have. Urgency can be your enemy when it comes to finding candidates that are truly meant for your business. That's why LinkedIn is the best place to post your job. LinkedIn Jobs screens candidates with the hard and soft skills you're looking for so you can hire the right person fast. What was that?
What are soft skills?
Did you say that too?
Yeah, I did. I need to know what the soft skills are.
Connor?
Soft skills, you say?
Yeah, those are things like collaboration, creativity, adaptability. LinkedIn looks beyond the work skills and puts your job post in front of qualified candidates who match your business requirements perfectly.
Wow.
Huh?
Wow.
The mo, you know. That's how LinkedIn makes sure your job post is seen by the people you want to hire, people with the skills, qualifications, and other interests that will help your business grow. It's no wonder a person is hired every 8 seconds with LinkedIn, and why companies rated LinkedIn Jobs the #1 hiring platform for delivering quality hires. Find the right person for your business today with LinkedIn Jobs. You can pay what you want and get the first $50 off. Just visit linkedin.com/Pat. Again, that's linkedin.com/Pat to get $50 off your first job post. Terms and conditions obviously apply. Ty, what did you learn from Blake Martinez there?
Yeah, he's confident. He's confident going into the rest of the season. So
you have to be happy, though, to hear that they say, listen, we did a lot of things wrong, and we still got to win. That's the difference between good and great teams, by the way, to be able to win those close, ugly games. And, yeah, the Redskins have been a stink fest this year. They've already fired their coach. Dwayne Haskins is their 3rd quarterback they've used. But those close games, a lot of people are making paychecks in the Redskins too, right? They're still training. They're still prepping for the Packers. To get a win is a win, but you would hope going into the playoffs you're playing your best football, and I think they haven't done that in the last couple weeks. So if you're a Packers fan, you got to hope they get back to that.
Yeah, and the defense wasn't the issue in the Redskins game. It was on the offensive side of the ball. So, I mean, they did their job. That's all you can really ask, is that they just put the offense in a good position for the rest of the season.
Did we know that spider monkeys can defy gravity?
Yeah, their tails.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Spiders. Monkeys.
Those are two different species. You see,
they got together.
At some point, they absolutely did. 1-833-622-3331. The second hour is, I think we have Warren Sharp joining us at some point if we can get his contact information. Talk about this New England Spygate 2.0 potentially. Todd's on the phones. We got a lot to chat about. We cannot wait to see you in the second hour. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Did you know over 60% of men experience significant hair loss by age 35? Some shave it or hide it, but some of us want to treat it. That's why there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. With Roman, you can get personalized hair loss treatment and unlimited follow-ups from a U.S. licensed physician. If treatment is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping. Get started today with a free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
It's the perfect occasion for a mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication. 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is Chase Rice, you handsome country singer. He's on tour. If he's in your city, go check him out. We are live in Indianapolis. Indiana! With all the boys here at Boston Connors on the couch. We'll talk about the NBA in a little bit. Can't wait to hear your completely unbiased NBA breakdown that doesn't slant directly towards the Boston Celtics.
Got it.
DJ Nick Moraldo's over there. Nick, not bad heaters today, not bad jams.
We're working on it. Today's been a little off. I'm off my routine. Tried to wake up early, set my alarm for 6:45 p.m. instead.
Come on.
Didn't you have something this morning? Did you miss it?
Yeah, totally missed it. Doctor's appointment. Just slept right through it.
At Diggs, at Tone Diggs, how you doing, pal? Yesterday you had one of the best rants I've ever heard in my entire life about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ducky Hodges being screwed out of the Pro Bowl ballot. Has that been changed or fixed since your rant?
Not that I have seen. Apparently, I carry no weight with the NFL.
Never would have guessed that. At Ty Schmidt, Jason McAfee, Zito, Foxy, and Todd's on the phones, 1-833-622-3331 to talk to our retired police officer and Marine friend. And also to the show and to the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are listening currently, which is a really beautiful thing. By the way, we're about to add, I think, like 50 more channels.
Hey now.
Hey. It's pretty good. We're about to be one of the largest shows on radio, which is
How about it?
an insane thing. How about it, Connor?
Come
How
on.
about it?
It's awesome.
It is. I mean, it's only a matter of time for every one of our guests says the S-T word that we get kicked off of everything. But it's nice to be growing. And radio is my first real opportunity. So I'm excited to be here. Excited to be streaming on our YouTube, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. Shout out to Foxy, who just put out another beautiful piece of work for the week that was last week, where we gave away an Escalade and went to the SEC Championship and everything else in between. Dance with Mac Brown. Foxy, you've done a great job with our friends at Get Roman.
Very much appreciate it.
If you want to have longer lasting sex, use their swipes.
Yeah.
Connor's been doing it. Ain't that right?
Good job, Connor.
Please, I haven't had sex in years. You kidding me? You think I need swipes? Come on.
His masturbation sessions have been lasting
They have been stepping it up. Yeah.
longer.
Oh, yeah.
Kids' forearms are massive. All right, couple big news stories we have to talk about at the top of the hour, strictly because we are a big radio show now. Eli Manning's potential last game of his entire career last night. Let's have a moment of silence for the Manning era in the NFL that has been dominant for the last 30 years, coming to what we all believe is an end.
Come on.
That was very quick. I was thirsty. But it is real. I got a chance to meet Eli Manning. No big deal. Name drop. Got a chance to have some wine with Archie Manning in Eli Manning's house. No big deal. Name drop. Good guy. Very nice guy. That Manning family has been nothing but nice to me, so I'm very appreciative of them. I don't know how it is with everybody else. I assume they don't interact with many people, but for me, they're very nice. Eli Manning has always been this enigma of a figure because, yes, he is a Manning. Yes, he is a two-time Super Bowl champion, but here for the last probably 7 years, 6 to 7 years, maybe 5 years, it's been very suspect, not only for Eli, but for the Giants organization as a whole. So you always have to wonder, is it McAdoo? Is it Shermer? Is it this? Or is it Eli? Now, granted, remember, he got benched for Geno Smith a couple years back. There was uproar because Eli was the face of the Giants for a long time. And we all know that his better days were very far behind him. But if he was in a better team, would Eli Manning's greatness continue much longer than it did? Because it feels as if for the last 5-6 years, we've seen the same Eli Manning in the same uniform doing the same things. And last night was very much of the same. We saw a couple great balls, a deep ball that dropped down from the heavens for a touchdown, take an early lead. Felt like the Giants plus 8.5 with the entire Manning family in a suite, celebrating a career that was for Eli. Plus 8.5 was a lock. In the first half, it was like, yep, this is the easiest bet of all time. Then in the second half, the same thing happened. They kind of let off the gas pedal a little bit. They let other things start happening. Didn't get a lot of completions. Carson Wentz gets hot, and they lose the game. much to the chagrin of Eagles fans who think they're still alive and think that they're going to potentially win a home playoff game because the NFC East, somebody's going to win, they're going to get a playoff game. But for the Eli Manning era, it ended exactly how everybody would have guessed. I mean, it ended exactly how it would have guessed. Took a couple sacks, so he didn't get hit, but he stayed safe. Threw a couple good balls, lose in the end. His team pretty much lets him down a little bit. I mean, that was something that happened. And now we're stuck wondering, a man who is one game under being 500 in his entire career, a man who has 2 Super Bowl rings, a man who has defeated the Patriots in a game that nobody has been able really to defeat the Patriots in. What do we think about Eli Manning? I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a good guy. But boy, whenever you watch recent Eli Manning, it's like the younger generation that's only got to see this latest Eli Manning. They'll never really get a chance, I think, to appreciate what Eli Manning used to be. When the helmet catch was happening, when he was a little bit more athletic, when his arm had a little bit more pop on it, things like that. Because it feels like for the last recent history, it's been much of the same, which is like bleh out there. And that's, I don't think it's Eli's fault. I think it's a lot of people's fault. I guess Eli is included in that.
His first full 8 seasons as a starter never had a losing season. And then since then, he went 7-9, 6-10, 6-10, 3-12, 5-11. Oh, there's 11-5 in there, sprinkled in there. So he did have one winning season in his last 7.
But you think if he was at some other organization, some other franchise, would he be much better off? I think everybody says yes. Right? I mean, that Giants organization has been a dumpster fire for a long time. Running through coaches, cycling through coaches, getting distracted on things, but still having a couple Super Bowls in modern history is always the thing that you lie about. You're like, they're a good franchise, but really, they haven't been for a long time. And now it's Danny Dimes' era. Eli gets a chance to showcase himself on Monday Night Football one last time. And there early, I thought it was going to be a storybook ending, end up one game above 500 so he can always say he's a winning quarterback, and instead just a heartbreaker in overtime to a NFC East leading Philadelphia Eagles team.
I didn't realize he's 1-10 in his last 11 games against the Eagles. So
he's like 10-21.
Yeah, they've just been terrible for like the last 8 years. But when you live in the Midwest, it's like you almost forget about it. I did not know that at all. Like, we don't see them on primetime anymore, and you just assume it's like, the Giants just stink this year. No big deal. It's like they haven't been worth a damn in a long time.
A long time. Saquon Barkley's quads are so large. I don't know how his knees are going to be able to hold up. His quads hang over his patella. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. Now, I'm no scientician, right? I've never claimed to be a scientician. I've never claimed to be a botanist or whatever it is for the body. But
plants.
Yeah, I mean,
not a botanist either.
Not a botanist either. But something has to. I don't know. I mean, I guess your quads and your core are like the most important part to like kind of keeping your body healthy, your hips and everything like that. But I just feel, is there a point where your quads could be too big? I mean, I have large quads. It has to be impossible for that man to find pants. Impossible. Has to be absolutely impossible. But his knees look like they are just like the bottom of a bong. And then his quads are just like this massive thing. I don't know how he does it. He must do leg day every day for Saquon. And I think he's a special talent. Everybody has said that. This year has not really been. I think he got injured as well going forward. I assume he's going to be something special for him. But those quads are something to really stare at. I mean, I don't know how you don't get captivated. Like, what are those things? And he shaves his legs, too, which make him look good,
Yeah,
too.
that's good.
Good move.
I just hope they don't atrophy in the offseason, knowing what he likes to do. You know, I don't know if he really takes things as serious as a lot of other guys do in the offseason, so we'll see. I don't know.
What does that even mean?
Oh, I think everyone knows that. Everyone knows. You know what? If you don't know what it means, wait till the Giants go home early and he goes back to L.A. and then just check his Instagram. Just check his Instagram, see what he's doing. Not a lot of workout videos in there.
Yeah, but for those quads, he's working out somewhere because those quads don't just fall from trees. Are the Giants ever going to be good again?
Pat, I think that what we saw last night was exactly what he's been going through, Eli Manning I'm talking about, with his system since his 8th year in the NFL. Like, you see, like early in the first half, they obviously could throw whenever they wanted downfield to Slayton. I mean, it was easy pickings. And then going in the second half, it was like, we're just going to play not to lose. You're not built for that. Look at your record. Why are you doing that?
It is real, too. It feels like, and this is something I would assume Packers fans are feeling with LaFleur, it's like coaches get a lead, and it's so hard to win. It's very, because I think they even said we need to stay aggressive at halftime. I think Shermer even said we need to stay aggressive, and then they did not.
He had 24 yards in the second half.
That's what I'm saying. He did not. It's one of those things where the NFL coaching mind mastermind is such a special one because it takes a special person to become a coach in the NFL. It takes a special talent to become a coach in the NFL. Now, granted, there's some places where you just have one good interview and you get a job and get paid a lot of money. And you can scam a whole entire city out of money for a long time. But for the majority, to become an NFL coach, there's a lot of work ethic that has to be in there and intelligence and experience and things like that. And it feels like a lot of people fall into that same trap where they get a lead and instead of stepping on the throat and winning it outright, knowing the humans are on the other side, and if they're getting blown out, they're more apt to kind of dial it back no matter how much money they're getting made. Instead, you let people linger, you let people stick around, you give them hope, and in the end, it's just a cardiac situation for everybody. For me, that's kind of, now granted, last night's game meant outside of the Manning tribute, which I wish he would have got a win there if it was his last game. It meant nothing to the Giants, right? But for me, I don't know why you don't just go for it. And I'll probably never get hired as a head coach, never really want that. But for me, it's hard not to look at a team and just be like, yo, just go for it. Like, what are we doing? Why are we changing up everything? I was a part of a couple Colts teams. Cardiac Colts was our name for a long time. And it was like, yo, we had a good lead, and then we fell into this prevent defense, and then it's just like they start picking us apart, and then you give them a little bit of hope, and then somehow an interception happens, and it's just like, bang, all of a sudden a game that was handled hours ago is now becoming something because you just rest on your laurels or your lawnies or whatever it is, and then you just move forward, and I am done with it. I'm done with that mindset of coach. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. That's my new thing I want to change. I'm tired of prevent defense. I think there should be a rule in the NFL that you have to continue to try to score every single time you have the ball instead of just letting the clock run out. That should be a rule. The XFL should put that in, and I think the NFL should follow suit because I'm sick of watching it.
There was a situation last night where it was tied. The Eagles had just scored a touchdown. I think there was like a minute 40 left, or maybe it was before that. But it was 4th and 3. The Giants had it on like their own 40, own 35. And I'm like, you're 2-10. Who cares? Go for it. I mean, yeah, the game would have ended right there in regulation. The Eagles probably would have scored, but who cares? You're 2-10.
Yeah, I think people get caught up in the analytics. That's why I like Frank Reich, Colts coach. Hey, that son bitch will go for it on 4th down. He is not Harbaugh. He will go for it on 4th.
Peterson does it too. They did it last night.
They're changing now. Now they rely on analytics because that's like I don't want to say a cop out, but it is. It's like, well, the numbers told us that. Like instead of just being like, yeah, I just want to go for it. Now, granted, I love a good punt. I love a good punt. Love a good field goal. But I want to see my coach wanting to win as opposed to not wanting to lose. And that's just two different mindsets that I think not a lot of people have.
Big picture question. Can you be a losing quarterback in your NFL career and be in the Hall of Fame?
We're going to find out with Ole Manning. We are going to find out. He wins that game last night. He's a winning quarterback. He's winning. But instead, Carson Wentz and the Eagles refuse to die. Come back and win that thing in overtime. And the NFC East still stinks, but at least the Eagles are in the driving seat now with the Cowboys. Cowboys have to take on the Rams. Eagles just have to take on their division. I think the Cowboys are set up for failure. Eagles are potentially set up for success. But in that division, anybody can fail at any time. And that's something to think about. Okay, we'll be back on the other side with a guy named Warren Sharp. Warren Sharp was one of the first people to break this news yesterday about the New England Spygate 2.0. We had Rob Ninkovich on in the first hour. He explained about how Kraft Productions is its own business, basically, that creates this Do Your Job, all these little content pieces. And the independent contractors that were videotaping the Bengals sideline has nothing to do with the football side. But, man, optically, this looks bad for the Patriots. Can't wait to chat with Warren Sharp about it. And then break down the Heisman finals and get to the phones. We got a great second hour for you here on the Pat McAfee Show.
10 years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
Joining us now is an entrepreneur, a man that founded SharpFootballAnalysis.com. You can follow him at SharpFootball. Big brain guy, was one of the early chatters yesterday about everything that was happening with New England and Cincinnati, which caused quite a stir on the internet and in real life in the NFL. To break that all down, ladies and gentlemen, Warren Sharp. What's up, Warren?
Hey, Pat. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much for joining me. The boys here have been following along at Sharp Football for a long time to get analytics and analysis, so we appreciate your insight into our show without you even knowing that you've been doing that. We should probably pay you for that.
Love your stuff. So happy to be here.
Okay, let's talk yesterday. Let's talk about what happened yesterday with this New England Patriots news, where a person who was wearing a Patriots polo was caught recording the Bengals sideline while allegedly doing a content piece called Do Your Job with an Advanced Scout. What are you hearing? What do you know? How do you feel about it?
Well, let's start with the last question first. I don't feel good about this at all. It's, if any other team had done this, I feel like we would be reacting in a very similar manner. People are like, oh, we're only reacting like this because this is the Patriots. Can you imagine if when Hugh Jackson was 0-15 and about to be 0-16, a scandal came out that he was filming other teams' benches and signals to try to prevent himself from losing and going 0-16? I mean, we would still be talking about this regardless of who it relates to. But for the Patriots, the problem is they have precedent, and so we can't necessarily take what they say at face value. So when they come out and they argue that, oh, this is just part of a show and everything was above board, I think that we need to keep digging, and that's why it's good that we've got reporters there doing the research and coming up with more information to the story, because if we were to trust the first reports that broke, some of which were from ESPN, like there was a lot, even Adam Schefter, like just immediately sweeping this under the carpet, covering this up, taking the Patriots' position that this was nothing, there's nothing to see here, this was just a show that they're recording, and it's completely normal, they had permission to do so. But we've since uncovered more that actually what the Patriots were doing is they were filming a show called Do Your Job in the press box of a advanced scout, and kind of like what a day in the life of this guy's job, and I'm sure they were filming in various different locations. They interviewed this guy before the game. The interview ended, the game began, and they then trained their camera on the Cincinnati Bengals sideline and continued to film what the Cincinnati Bengals coaches were doing, signaling in as the players were running in and out of the huddle. And this was very similar to what they did during the Spygate era of filming other teams' benches and signals and that sort of thing. Fortunately, a Cincinnati Bengals employee was in there, saw the camera, the picture of what was being filmed, eventually alerted authorities. They came in, interviewed this cameraman who basically said, I work for Kraft. We're just filming this documentary. If you allow me to delete this footage, I'll pretend like nothing happened. And, of course, they didn't allow that. They took and confiscated the footage. And I guess we'll see what actually was on there. But supposedly it's a lot of video of that bench. And keep in mind, yes, I know it's the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Patriots play the Bengals this upcoming week, number one. And number two, this is a first-year defensive coordinator in the NFL and a first-year head coach in the NFL, and the Patriots love gathering intelligence on what other teams are doing.
Whoa, Warren, I want to let you know, I'm a naive guy, okay? I like to take people at their word. I just think there's a lot more good in people than bad in people, no matter what could have potentially allegedly happened in the past. Rob Ninkovich told me that Kraft Productions is a completely different operation than that of the New England Patriots football team. What is the similarities? Because I saw this floating around on the internet. I didn't get to dive in deep enough into the Business Insider. What are the similarities between this situation and what had happened in Spygate back in the day?
Well, what happened in Spygate back in the day is that the Patriots had a highly complex system to record opposing signals. And what they would do is they would have a camera trained on the sideline, and then it will cut away to like the game time, how much time was left in the game, and then it would film like a cheerleader or something like that. And basically they had a very elaborate like thing set up in advance so that if they were busted, if they were caught, they would make up an excuse like, oh, we're just filming this for a documentary, or we're just filming this for some other thing. And so they had excuses set up well in advance of this during the original Spygate. And what they would do is they would cross-reference that with the actual play. So they would take the film of the signals on the sideline, and then they would know what the down and distance and the time in the game was from that same type of film. And they would cross-reference that with what actually was being called out on the field, because you can look at, the All-22 and see exactly what they end up doing. And then they would start to piece together exactly what the signals were. And this supposedly happened, allegedly, reportedly, for at least 40 games between 2000 and 2007. And one other thing to tack onto this is that one of the reasons, allegedly by ESPN, when they dove into all of this, the Deflategate suspensions and penalties, which seemed over the top to a lot of people, were influenced and made more strict and stringent because Roger Goodell was very hasty and incomplete with his handling of Spygate. Supposedly, the Spygate scandal was covered up by Goodell to protect the image of the NFL and as a favor to Kraft, who recently got Goodell promoted to commissioner. So that's an ESPN report about how the original Spygate happened so quickly and was kind of swept under the rug, and the tapes were destroyed, and we never heard anything about exactly the details. We had to get third-person stories about what ended up happening. So it definitely does not, the precedent of what happened in the past definitely is not good for what's going on right now. And of course, I wish that nothing happened, because just like I don't like referees making mistakes in their penalties and how they influence the game. I don't like video review coming in and messing up how they're influencing the game. What I want in the NFL, when I'm watching it, when I'm analyzing it and studying it, and I work for some teams in the league, is I want to see as clean a game as possible without any outside influences or factors in this game. I just want to see Team A, Team B go up against each other. Whatever happens, happens, but I don't want bad calls to influence something, and I certainly don't want impropriety or cheating getting involved as well. So that's why I really have a distaste for things like this, and I of course hope that it comes out that nothing ended up happening, but we'll just see.
All right. Lot to digest there. We talked to Rob Ninkovich in the first hour, and he mentioned, just like I tweeted to you, how could this happen in 2019? Rob Ninkovich talked about how they were potentially recording, and they had a Patriots polo on. Todd, as a former private detective, hiding in plain sight is something that people actually do as a way to defend themselves. Like, oh, we wouldn't have done this if we were doing this. This is something that could really possibly happen.
Absolutely, Pat. I mean, what better way to hide the person than to put him right out in front of everybody and then really, evidently, according to his interview, give no one else in the organization much of an idea of all of why he's there and what his job is.
That's insane to think about. I mean, Mr. Sharp, you just opened some eyes here. I am a person that takes people at their word. I would assume that this is nowhere near finished. And who actually has the footage now? Who took the footage? That wasn't the NFL. Was that somebody else? And if that was the NFL, do you think this is all just going to get swiped under the rug again because the integrity of the game could be jeopardized, especially coming from a team that's the most successful in this league's history?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, the Bengals have the footage. They took the tapes. The Bengals have the footage, and they also turned it over to the NFL. And secondly, I hope it doesn't get swept under the rug because, just like Goodell is so anti-sports betting, right? He suspended the one guy for over a year for violating, a sports betting policy, who's not even playing in the NFL this season, but he's within the league. He signed the anti-gambling policy. This type of thing does lead to suspicion, but guess what? Sweeping it under the rug just creates more suspicion. Coming out, penalizing it, say we do not allow this, do not condone this whatsoever. If anybody is even perceived to have done something like this, we'll investigate it, and if they're found guilty, they're going to get their punishment. That's going to actually make everything feel a lot better for the fans than it would to sweep something under the rug.
Mr. Sharp, I appreciate your time. With over 162,000 followers at Sharp Football is something you should be following along with. Same with SharpFootballAnalysis.com. We appreciate you, Mr. Warren Sharp. Great mustache in your photo as well.
Thank you, Pat.
All right, cheers, buddy. Hey.
Kick him off the tour, Doug.
Connor.
I mean, hold on. Before we get
Connor.
into it,
What do you mean?
if you're telling me,
All right, hold on. For people that don't know, Boston Connor, he's from the Boston area, not actually Boston. Diehard Patriots fan, though. And he actually yesterday texted me, told me that he thinks the Patriots stink. A quick way for the Patriots not to stink anymore would potentially be to know the signals of the team that they're playing against, even if it is the Andy Dalton Bengals, because you need to get these wins late in the season because the AFC is becoming quite a tight race, especially with the Baltimore Ravens don't look like they're going to let up. How do you feel about everything that Warren Sharp just laid out as opposed to what Ninkovich just laid out, Mr. Boston Connor, about your New England Patriots?
first of all, what Mr. Sharp said, if you're telling me that the same reaction is happening for the 0-15 Browns, if they were to do this with Hugh
But,
Jackson,
he was wrong there. I even wrote down. I wrote down, if Hugh Jackson was caught cheating and he was that bad, the
be
reaction
hilarious.
would be hilarious
Yeah.
as opposed to, wait a minute, these people are very good. This is an eyebrow-raising situation, though, and you have to agree.
Absolutely. And first of all, I love the documentary series. I think Do Your Job deserves an Emmy. And you know, they were going for it this year. Did they slip up in Cincinnati? Perhaps. But the more I think about it, after Deflategate, what happens? We win a Super Bowl. I honestly think Belichick might do this on purpose to light a fire under the team's arse, get the boys going.
You can say ass.
I'm not sure what I can say. I almost said a word the other day that I now know I'm not allowed to say.
I mean, they definitely created this video series just to cheat.
It's something you have to, you put your tinfoil cap on and you go, okay, they're the smartest people in the history of football. That is just understood. Ernie Adams is this mythological creature that has this massive brain, Rain Man-like tendencies, they say. If he can see what the signals are, he can dissect them very quickly, memorize them, and then he puts on cards what plays are for the team in practice, right? So that's why you go, Spygate was an issue, especially when you have a weapon like Ernie Adams. Now, granted, if Ernie Adams was going as an advanced scout, which his job is to go to the team they're about to play and check out tendencies and things they're potentially doing, formations and stuff like that, maybe even ceasing. If he was just doing it without the use of cameras, without the use of anything like that, good on you. Everybody would say good on you. Now, when you add in cameras for the chance to potentially watch these back and study them and dissect them, that's where the problem is, which, first of all, that's why people think this is a big problem, as everybody knows.
Pat, what do you think about Belichick saying specifically in his quote, "We do not knowingly and intentionally want to do anything that is across the line"? Like, why do you got to throw in the words knowingly and intentionally there? How about we just don't want to do anything that crosses the line?
Well, because, now, for instance, they've done things with formations that are like rule bending. You know what I mean? So I think what they're saying is they want to take advantage of every letter of the law, and I don't think they intentionally break it. But, boy, this one here makes you question, especially when you go back. If what Warren Sharp said was true, which I would assume it is, he's like a nerd. That's what Warren Sharp is. Analysis and trends and everything like that. He's a nerd person. So I don't think he would get on a show nationally syndicated, pretty large, and just completely lie. What he said was, in the past, they already had built-in excuses ready for them, which the guy said, oh, this is for a documentary series. They had shots of the sideline, then shots of other things. Boom, that's what they did here. I mean, it's all kind of reminiscent of the glory days when we could potentially be hitting a little bit of a downfall. And as a fan of the Patriots, and as a fan of success, and a fan of winning, this would be heartbreaking if this is what was happening yet again for the Patriots. And boy, that asterisk, which a lot of people have next to the Patriots, is only going to get bigger from this. And if you're a Patriots fan, you're like, you know what? We do what we have to do to win. But even this is crossing the line, I'd assume.
I mean, it's tough.
It's the same thing that was happening before. Optically, they have to know. It doesn't matter if you work for Kraft Productions. It doesn't matter if you work for Macaroni, Pastaroni Production. It doesn't matter what you work for. You just have to know optically, like, this is going to be a bad thing.
See, and that's why I don't know why that's what they use as the excuse, because like a lot of teams, like if you follow them on Twitter or Instagram, like they do have these like kind of behind the scenes looks like with their content team. But when you go out and say like, oh, this is actually a private entity that Mr. Kraft has us filming, it's like, that I don't think that's as good of an excuse. I think that actually makes people look at it like, well, wait a minute, then what are they doing in press boxes filming stuff?
Hey.
Robert's never done anything wrong. He's a stand-up guy, so I believe if he says...
Who are you talking
It's the
about?
last tug.
Huh?
Oh,
I think
Bob
they should
Kraft.
be definitely kicked out of the playoffs. Bills should win the AFC East, and then just whoever the 2 wild card teams are the 2 wild card teams.
That doesn't sound
Huh?
ridiculous at all.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean,
Cincinnati.
look how low you guys have stooped that you have to do this for
Oh,
Cincy.
Oh, come on.
You would assume you'd do that for.
Every team.
That's the thought.
Well, maybe
like,
you-
yeah, it's Cincinnati. It came out here. Just like in the Deflategate game, you beat us by 50. But if your other games that you're probably doing this in, that's what everybody was saying. Deflategate, by the way, I've said numerous times, it wouldn't have helped us. We lost by 700 that day. Yeah. But what everybody in the game, or the people that got upset, were like, well, if they're doing in this game where they won by 50, let's assume they were doing in other games like the Ravens, which they played the week before and only won by like 7. Let's assume that was happening. That's what if this, then this. So if they're doing it for the Bengals, let's assume they're also doing it, blah, 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 which, by the way, hasn't been working.
Yeah.
This year for the offense.
Not at
Has
all.
not been working. So has Ernie Adams lost it then? That's something we
And
gotta
it's a
think
great
about.
organization. So you would think, hey, maybe they're not even thinking about 2019. Maybe they're worried about Joe Burrow next year. Okay? Maybe they're scouting that far ahead for the season.
What's Belichick's calling card? Situational football. If he can find out what these coaches and coordinators like to do in specific situations, it's a big advantage.
Take away all Super Bowls.
Fuel to the fire. Fuel to the fire.
Yeah, and the fire was the first Spygate where you guys lit all the tapes on fire. That is this one. How about the Bengals being like, yeah, we'll give it over to you. Let's rip, first of all. So
Yeah.
we'll rip exactly what it is so we can't say, oh, we never got to see the footage. Somebody on Twitter said, Zach Kiefer, who writes for The Athletic here in Indianapolis, Indiana, good writer, he said that on that footage is 8 straight minutes of just shots of signals and such like that. That's what he said on Twitter. We do not know if any of this is verified. There's going to be a lot of hearsay, but boy, the hearsay looks bad for the New England Patriots.
Heard that.
We're on to Cincinnati.
Well, you were on the Cincinnati a week ago. We're on to Cincinnati. We already got their signals. Break-ins spike every single year during the holidays. Because families are traveling around and burglars know people have expensive gifts just lying around. That's why Simply Safe is my choice for home security. Simply Safe is comprehensive professional home security at a fair price, and right now is the best time of year to get a Simply Safe security system. The holidays, they're giving a listeners... Oh, God, that was a bad read. For the holidays, they're giving listeners of this show a huge discount on your security system and a free security camera. Simply Safe protects every room, door, and window with 24/7 professional monitoring. If there's a break-in, Simply Safe can give real-time video confirmation so police respond up to 3.5 times faster. With Simply Safe, there's no contract, no hidden fees, and no fine print. Prices are fair and honest, starting at just $15 a month. Go to simplysafe.com/Pat now to take advantage of Simply Safe's amazing holiday savings and get a free HD security camera as well. This offer is a limited time only offer and it's ending soon, so hurry. That's simplysafe.com/Pat to save big and get a free security camera. Simplysafe.com/Pat. Don't let them porch pirates get you.
No.
Don't let anybody come in and steal Santa's gifts. Get Simply Safe, get it on camera. $15 a month, get it on camera. The Patriots. And it's an app. It's easy to use. It's non-intrusive. It's easy to set up. Simply Safe has completely changed the home security game. Now, 11:37, 8:37, 10:37, depending on where you're at in this country. We're going to wrap up this show with phone calls from Andrew in Charleston, Corey in Indiana, Scott in Texas, Jeff in Texas, and 2 others that are currently calling in. I can't wait to hear that. Patriots, what's going on up there? You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
At some point in their life, 52% of all men will experience erectile dysfunction, but most of them never get treated. Now there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. With Roman, you can get genuine medication prescribed by a U.S. licensed physician, all from the comfort of your home. If medication is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping and in discreet packaging. Get started with a free online visit today at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Music stops. Love that. Andrew, Charleston, West Virginia. What's up, dog?
Hey, man. What's going on?
Anybody ever call you Andy or Drew, or is it just specifically Andrew, like a Mitchell Trubisky, Matthew Stafford type thing?
I've been called both Drew and Andy. Sometimes people at work call me Handy Andy. Don't know why that happened. Not a huge fan of it.
That could be the hand jobs, but that's neither here nor there. What do you want to talk about, Handy Andy?
Yeah. So I accidentally signed up for a semi-pro football league, and I've never played football in my entire life.
Good.
Am I going to die?
No, you're playing against a bunch of people that are terrible at football anyways. I mean, that semi-pro football thing is for people that want to do the glory days who haven't done anything athletic for about 10, 15 years. You actually might be in a better spot than them because you didn't play, you didn't have any wear and tear, and you don't know what you don't know. I think you just go out there and sling it around. I think it's going to be handy-dandy Andy who's making good plays.
You just not go, too.
No, I think you should play. Semi-pro football looks
those
like
are expensive, aren't they? I think the league dues are like super expensive.
You got to play for your own pads. You got to play for the rental of the field.
Yeah.
You got to play for all that stuff. I can't wait until Zito and Connor are on a semi-pro football team. I'm going to be the number one fan.
You guys join, I'll join.
Hey, those things are just. I think there's just like kill shots happening.
Oh, yeah.
Because all you're trying to do is just lay somebody else so you can get one feel of what it was like back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then that means there's a lot of misses too. So I seen one semi-pro football game before. I like happened upon it. And I was like, boy, somebody's going to die out there. And that's hopefully not handy-dandy Andy, but you never know. Corey in Indiana, what's up, bub?
What's going on the best sports show in the world, so I'm pretty stoked.
We appreciate you, Corey. What's going on?
I was wondering what you thought the Colts were going to do at quarterback next year with the way the second half of the seasons went.
I know.
If they're going to go after a free agent, or if they're going to go after somebody in the draft, or hope and pray and beg Andrew Luck to come back.
All right, Corey, right now Diggs is looking at me with bated breath. He's excited to hear what I have to say. Jacoby Brissett in the first half of the season and in everything he did, I honestly believe looked like a guy that could lead a franchise for a long time. He was making plays and making throws that were not only making the Colts better, but making the Colts contenders. Now, in these last few weeks here, he's been making mistakes that he didn't make in the first half. Now, what do you account for being inexperienced? He's a young quarterback still. People forget that although he's a little bit older and he did just get paid a pretty good amount of money, the only real playing experience he has is when he showed up at a team 10 days before the season started with zero knowledge of the offense, zero knowledge of the team, got thrown into a terrible situation and lost, but won 4 games, but lost a lot of games. So now, what do you account for being inexperienced in his first time doing a full season? What do you account for not having his biggest weapon in T.Y. Hilton and not really many other weapons? What do you account for not having Marlon Mack? How about Paris Campbell, their high draft pick, who hasn't really been around due to injury? What do you account for with all those things? Now, granted, he's made some decisions where I go, man, this guy, what is he thinking or what is he doing? But at the quarterback position, sometimes that's going to happen. I think Ballard will give him at least another year and then see what he can do, especially with an entire offseason knowing he's the guy, having the team know that he's the guy as opposed to the Andrew Luck thing. But begging Andrew Luck to come back, I don't think is going to happen in the next 100 years for Chris Ballard.
No, I think you should definitely keep Jacoby. I think he's shown enough that he can be definitely a good starting quarterback in the NFL, and he didn't give up 38 points this week.
They need to get healthy.
There's no, like you said, no T.Y. Like
They're 1-9 when T.Y. Hilton does not play.
He's a weapon. And by the way, he's been the only weapon for a long time deep. Now, Jack Doyle makes a lot of plays. He just signed for $21 million. Happy for him. Ebron's gone. A lot of people were saying they were surprised he decided to go on the IR, including the coach, I guess, said, Frank Reich said he did not know that was coming. Ebron has come out and said, well, he should have known I've been hurt since whatever. I mean, that's an interesting thing. He's probably going to move on, go somewhere else. I think that team is going to get built up potentially around Jacoby. I think he's going to have a good year next year. But, man, they got to win the close games. And sometimes a year like this of losing 5, 6 very close games can harden you going forward. They have a young team. Chris Ballard has built something good. I think next year will be a Jacoby Brissett good year. Personally, I'm not 100% sure.
I agree.
Scott in Houston, what's good?
Here we go.
Love that,
man,
Todd. Shut up.
These freaking refs stink, man.
Bad.
NBA, NFL, all around, they stink. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I wanted the Texans win on my birthday. Couldn't even get that.
When was your birthday? I mean, Scott, how are we supposed
Sunday.
to know? Oh, okay. Oh, wait, hey, happy belated birthday, Scott. Happy for you.
I don't know how much
Sunday was
to do
not
with
the refs' fault.
Yeah, it was not the refs. I mean, the Broncos, Drew Lock beat you guys by 120.
Got beat by 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, you guys started
It
getting
was
back
the Rockets last night. The NBA pissed me off a little bit. The refs got me. they screwed us over.
But in the NBA, I feel like that is something that the refs can do every single game, and it's much more of a mainstay that you just understand in the NBA that the refs are going to be a determining factor on who's going to win, especially with James
Why
Harden.
don't they screw LeBron over?
Hold
Why
on,
don't
though.
they screw LeBron over?
Hey, as a Houston Rockets fan, I would argue that the rest of the NBA says that James Harden is the guy that's been abusing the NBA refs to take advantage of other teams for a long time. So I'm sorry they ruined your birthday, but I feel like you've just been getting what's been coming to you, pal.
He's using the rules to his advantage.
No.
See,
Shoots 45 free throws a game. You know?
Scott, happy birthday, by the way. And I like the way James Harden plays. I like people that can abuse the rules a little bit and get the refs on their side, which James Harden has done. In a game that revolves around scoring, however you can score, do your thing, unless it involves videotaping your opponent.
Who's the next caller over there? What do we got? Tim from Chicago, is it?
No, there's no Tim. But here's a real thought about refs. And I would argue that we are potentially the most anti-ref and pro-ref show. Since I've started, I've given refs a lot of credit whenever they do good. And to be fair, I have to hammer home when they do bad. Because you can't just bury somebody without lifting them up whenever they do something. You can't do it. Like game day, for instance. They just buried me without ever lifting me up, which, makes me feel a certain type of way. That's just, I think I learned that with the WWE more so than anything. If you bury somebody, you got to protect them as well to show, a little fairness. With the refs, we've done that. I think there's a lot of good refs out there, but boy, I think there is a slew of terrible refs. And let me tell you why. Just like officers of the law. Who wants to be a ref? Nobody. Nobody wants to be a referee. You have no fans. You walk into a stadium, not a single person there likes you until you do something wrong for them, and that entire place can hate you as soon as you do something wrong against you. You have to have a certain type of person that really wants to become an official, a certain type of person that wants to be an officer of the law. I've never been that person. I don't think I've ever really hung out with people on a regular basis, aside from Todd, who's a cop. It takes a special breed, and especially in the world that we're in now, where every single mistake gets magnified and blasted. I don't know, you just see people signing up to be like, you know what, I want to be a ref. I want to be a ref. Other than somebody that comes out of a hockey league birth canal, I'm not sure there's a lot of people that are just excited to become refs in anything, and that could potentially be a problem going forward unless Elon Musk creates an AI way of reffing and officiating games without needing human interaction. I think it's going to be tough to find good refs going forward. I do. And it's probably our fault. It's probably our fault. I think it's Alberto Riveron's fault, mostly because of how bad he's been as a leader to the group. But I do believe it's a lot of people's fault, including mine, that it's going to be very difficult to find officials going forward.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see next year what the percentage of enrollment of new refs coming into the NFL will be. I would assume it's going to be lower than it ever will be.
They make good money.
All right, why don't you go do it?
I will. I'd love to.
All right, so there's one person that I've hung around on a regular basis that wants to be. Would you really go do that?
Yes. There's only 3 steps.
Give me 3 steps.
The problem with the refs are they're not doing the personality tests when refs sign up. Do you care what people think about you?
Well, and also clutch gene, I think, is a big deal because you're in a lot of big-time situations. Do you have the ability to throw a flag whenever you know that the world is potentially going to come crashing down on you? Diggs, I would argue that you would pander to every home stadium you are in.
That just happens.
The Italians would get to them.
The Italians would, you would be done. Diggs, get out of here. For the good of the game, don't ref. What's up?
I think they should pay them a substantial amount of more money and let them face the criticism after the game. I think they should be opened up to media questions after
accountability,
the game. Yes,
I think they should get fined, too.
See, then I wouldn't want to be a ref.
Accountability?
They don't have to answer questions after the game.
All right, we'll go to Derek, who Todd's answering phones was typed in. The city he is in is Liberal, California. I'm not sure if that's Todd taking a shot at the guy or that's the actual city he's in. Todd?
No, that's exactly what he said. Blows my mind, and I love it.
All right, Derek, in California, what's up, bub?
Yeah, don't judge. I'm in California. It's because of the military. But I want to talk about the Cheez-It Bowl, man. Have fun at that crap. And, yeah, absolutely. And how the Air Force does it is every time they score, whatever the scoreboard reads, they go down on the field and pump out push-ups. So I'm eager to see you on the sideline pumping them out with them.
I mean, I wouldn't want to take away from the incredible women and men that decided to join the Air Force. I was nowhere near tough enough, noble enough to do so. Those push-ups are a moment for them. I wouldn't want to ruin that by tethering down a 2-story Cheez-It box and doing that for them. That's their moment, Derek. I don't want to be a guy that ruins that.
Well, you need to have like a modified Blackhawk up there so you can fast slow it down. That would be epic.
Thank you, Derek. Sorry, we caught Uncle Todd there. By the way, Todd, great way to answer the phone right there. That was a very friendly voice. I appreciate that. Thanks to Derek, by the way, for his service. I am pumped for the Washington State Air Force battle because it's the air raid style offense versus a triple option. And now the air raid offense in Washington State with Mike Leach has a couple weeks to prepare for the triple option, which could be problematic for the Air Force. But when you run into that triple option offense, it's unlike anything else that you played all year. And Benny would argue that the air raid offense is also something that you're not used to, although it's becoming pretty regular. I think the Cheez-It Bowl on December 27th is about to be fireworks. I'm talking fireworks, and you have a chance to join me. Utilize the hashtag CheesePickMePat entry on Twitter and at Cheez-It, and you can sit in a 2-story Cheez-It box right on the field with me for the entire game. Airfare and hotel provided. It's going to be an absolute blast out there in Arizona on December 27th. Kickoffs at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN.
There's so many points, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of points. Let's go to Brandon in Cleveland. What's good, bub?
Hey, how's it going, Pat?
Not too shabby. How are you in Cleveland over there? I know Diggs is excited to hear from you.
Oh, I can't complain. I'm actually a Steelers fan, Diggs.
Oh, my God. How's that even happen?
I grew up a Steelers fan. My dad was a Steelers fan. Didn't really have a choice, but I can't be more than happy to be a Steelers fan.
Well, I can respect that. I heard you want to talk about the Cowboys head coach. What do you got?
Yes, sir. Hey, I got a good theory for it. Tony Romo went from football to the commentating world. He's a genius up there in the booth. What do you think about him becoming the head coach and then Jason Witten retiring being the offensive coordinator?
Wow. I don't know if Jason Witten should be deciding anything after hearing. I think he's a great football player, good man, not a great commentator, really good football head. I think him and Tony Romo in there would be good for Jerry Jones, would be good for the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo, I think, would be a good head coach. I'd assume he's very professional. He's looking for $10 million a year from CBS. If they don't pay him that, Jerry Jones would in an absolute heartbeat. Jason Garrett, former quarterback for the Cowboys. Tony Romo, quarterback for the Cowboys. Could they be good? Who knows? They got to pay Dak Prescott still. The Dallas Cowboys stink, but they could still end up with a home playoff game, which is insane to me. It's 11:55, 8:55, or 10:55, depending on where you live. And we can't thank you enough for listening on this beautiful Tuesday, December 10th. I got to go do 14 interviews. So you might hear me a lot. Thanks so much for listening to the Pat McAfee Show from Indianapolis, Indiana. Cheers.
Did you know over 60% of men experience significant hair loss by age 35? Some shave it or hide it, but some of us want to treat it. That's why there's Roman,